Hello, welcome back to the forge. I'm currently working on some Dutch tool chest hinges. Christopher Schwarz is going to be teaching a class or two in Australia. And the Melbourne Guild of Fine Woodworking has asked for some sets for the students taking the class. So I'm making, I think 4 of the students have asked for a set of hinges. And one of them has asked for a set with the initials for the Melbourne Guild of Fine Woodworking carved into the hinge. So I thought I'd show you real quick how I carve the initials. Initially I'll start with straight chisels. I don't know if you can see those very well, but I'll use 3 different sizes. It's nice to use the longest chisel that will cut the line you want. Obviously you can't use a chisel this big for going around curves, so you need a smaller chisel. I'm going to start with a paper pattern that's just glued on with contact cement, and I'm working under a treadle hammer. This makes it real nice and controlled. Make sure you have a stop on your treadle hammer so you can't accidentally smash your fingers. I just start with the biggest chisel that'll do what I want, but I can't do everything with it. So I'm just getting the general idea here. And that's about all I can do with that chisel up there. So I'll go to the next biggest one. And here I can work a little bit on this G. And really that's about it. So this is my smallest straight chisel. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. It's not straight across. It'll go around a corner. I can actually do these little corners on the edge of this font this way. And I can go around this outside curve here pretty easily with this. I'm going to rock the chisel, keep the trailing edge in the cut as much as possible, and just rock it forward about 1/4 of the chisel width there. And all you're doing is transferring your pattern at this point. Once the pattern is on the piece, then we'll clean it up. Now this inside curve, I actually have a curved chisel that I can get in there and start the curve. Fortunately, it's not a steady radius all the way around, so I can't do the entire thing that way, so I come back with this little tiny straight chisel. See there, I've cut my piece of paper out, don't have my pattern anymore. Okay, I've already done the F and the W here. They're all ready to go. So the next thing is to get the paper pattern off, put it in the fire, just a dull red, or use a rosebud on a torch. Burn the paper off, anneal it, because this will stress harden a little bit and you don't want to crack your work. So after it comes back out of the fire, let it cool. You can see the initials have already been gone over. Now if there's anything that isn't completely outlined with a chisel, this is the time to come back and fix that. And I think that looks pretty good. So the next thing we'll use are tools called butchers. And there are 2 styles of butchers. There's a steep one. Now the first pass is just a chisel, but this is called a first pass butcher. It doesn't get used till the second pass of the project. It's a little bit confusing. And the second pass, or the second pass butcher, doesn't get used till the third pass of the the project. But you can see this one is steeper. It'll index in these lines better, and it won't kick out. If you use the second pass butcher, which is rounder and flatter, or it's less of a acute of an angle, it may kick out and won't index in that line, and you can end up kind of mucking things up a little bit. And again, these come in different, or you make them. They don't come in any size. You've got to make them. They come in you make them in different widths. I probably have a half dozen different widths of butchers, depending on what size line I'm gonna work on. So to start with, I only want my first pass butchers. And I want to just go around the outside. The idea here is that we are pushing the background down. And by pushing the background down a little bit, it makes the letters look higher. Now, if you've done any leather carving, it's really the same thing you do in your leather carving. And this is a technique that will work with so many things other than this. This is really simplistic work for these techniques. Very old techniques. A lot of Gothic European ironware was done this way. In fact, where I learned was from Ernie Dorrell in a class on Gothic European ironwork motifs. So you just go around the letters with the butchers. And I have tried to make curved butchers to do inside these curves, and they don't really work that well. If I continue to fuss with them, I think I can probably get better. You'll see there's some kind of choppiness here. And that's what the second pass butcher will help take out. It'll help blend this. And if necessary, you can come back one more time with some little flatters. Again, they just look the same, but they're flatters. They've got radiused edges so they don't dig in. And you can kind of clean all this up. So all in all, you're going to end up making at least 4 passes probably on every letter, every line, until you get it to look the way you want. And if it takes 6 or 7 or 8, that's okay. I've got a couple of little LED work lights, one on either side of the treadle hammer that helps. This could certainly use a little bit more light. Now, doing these inside curves with this is kind of tough. Go really light so you don't muck it up too bad. Now, ideally, you should anneal this one more time. But just because I don't have a third piece ready to go, and I don't think you want to sit there and watch a YouTube video while I go anneal, I will go to the second pass butchers now. And again, they're a little bit flatter angle, and flat curve, whatever you want to call it there. But it flattens that line out a little bit more, and again helps raise the piece up. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but that really gives that letter some three-dimensional look. This is where the flatter will come in handy. And I don't have one that I brought over to the treadle hammer with me. It's still in my roll of tools. So I may have to curse you here, and I'll go over real quick. Actually, this is a way too big a flatter. Let me see if it'll do some of this, just to show you what. Yeah, let me go get a smaller flatter. Sorry for the interruption. I'll be right back. So this is a better flatter. It's slightly radiused edges here, and you can get it in there. Try not to let it. That's why you got to stop on that hammer. I can't crush my hand when that happens. This will take some more cleaning up. There will be several passes. I'll put pictures of this on the Black Bear Forge Facebook page. So if you do Facebook, come check out Black Bear Forge. And somewhere on there, there'll be pictures of this. It's the 28th of January. So by a week from now, it'll probably be buried so deep in that page you won't be able to find it, but if you're one of the first people watching this video, you should be able to find it tonight. And I'll try and get those pictures on there. So that's the general idea. Still needs some cleaning up, a little bit more flatting, at least 2 more passes on this with flatters, and some flatters that have smaller profiles that'll get into all this, and that'll get rid of some of this choppiness that you see. But hopefully you can see that that's starting to look like a highlighted letter there. Starting to stand out a little bit, 3-dimensional. And really, even if all you did was outline, if you're doing lettering, that doesn't look so bad. These same techniques can be used for piercing. If you use just keep using the chisel over and over again for the parts you want to cut out. First pass, you mark everything. Second pass, you chisel the pierced parts and start with the first pass butcher. Third pass, you chisel the pierced parts and start with the second pass butcher. And then you just keep going like that. So, thanks for watching. Hope this does somebody some good.